Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Supatease video. We got another round of class tuning and class changes for patch 12.1, and this is still a very ambitious patch on Blizzard's part, as they are fundamentally changing how all of our classes are likely going to feel, focusing more on damage outside of cooldowns and less inside of cooldowns, although not entirely removing cooldowns in the process. So it's very important that we stay up to date with what they are doing basically week to week with this. There are some PvP changes as well, apparently, that are undocumented that I'm seeing some posts about on Twitter, which we will cover in this video as well, which are some pretty major PvP changes. And as always, if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. So the PTR is opening up even more testing. They're testing the new raid, they're testing the new zone, testing the new layers. I'm really hoping they do a PvP test at some point too. It looks like they're doing a play with the blues for the new zone that's coming out, if you're interested in checking that out for this week. And they are doing some Mythic Plus dungeon testing as well. But for classes, which is kind of, the creme de la creme, see what's going on with everything. It looks like some major buffs, honestly, to Death Knight coming in here, at least for Frost, but I'm jumping ahead of myself here. Let's look at Blood first. The previously announced Blood Death Knight sets are now implemented and ready for feedback. So your 2-set bonus is when you Death Strike, you will gain a stack of Blood Debt, increasing your strength by 0.5 up to 5%. And when Blood Debt reaches 10 stacks, your next Marrow Rend will consume it, granting you 10% strength for 10 seconds. Venomous Abyss is a 4-set bonus. When consuming Blood Debt, your next Marrow Rend generates 3 additional bone shields and deals shadow damage to your target and nearby enemies. A very high overall throughput set bonus. Definitely something to keep an eye on. I think in PvE, but also PvP, because that's a lot of strength damage modifiers there on that. Frost DK are seeing basically a lot of their abilities buffed. I guess some of it. Oh, I thought this said buffs. I am sorry, guys. This says reduced, not increased. I'm tired, and my vision is limited here. These are nerfs for Frost DKs, my guys. I'm sorry. They're nerfing all of your damage by 10%, your melee damage additionally by 20%, your Icy Death Torrent damage by 35%, your Morris's Winter damage by 30%, and your Obliterate damage by 10%. You must have been really OP. I cannot see you not being really OP, because I think you got nerfed on the last round of changes also. Unholy is also seeing some significant reductions across all of its abilities. All of its damage by 8%, Lord of the Dead by 25%, Maggots of the Dead by 15%, all of your Lesser Ghoul damage by 15%, Putrefy by 15%. Who is testing Death Knight on the PTR that's really good at the game and getting it nerfed? It's their fault. You should blame them. Whoever's testing this, because that's where the data is coming from, I would assume. Necrotic Coil damage by 18%, Pestilence by 25%. See, I thought we were trying to buff the damage outside of cooldowns. This is like nerfing all of the damage. I'm a bit worried. Infected Claw by 25%, Virulent Plague by 25%, but this is almost entirely, I would assume, to do with PvE tuning. Maybe some consideration for PvP, but I would imagine we're in that phase where this is mostly PvE oriented. For the hero talents, Rider of the Apocalypse is also getting nerfed. White Mane's Death Coil damage reduced by 25%. White Mane Undeath damage reduced by 25%. Not a good update for DKs. Devourer Demon Hunters, though, are getting 10% more damage. I didn't know you needed 10% more damage. I thought you guys were farming in Mythic Plus. I thought you guys were farming in PvP, but Devourer might be a bit spooky. It might be a bit spooky. Havoc Demon Hunter is getting a 5% nerf, but not in PvP. See, this is interesting. So they applied this nerf to Havoc, but didn't do it in PvP, but these DK nerfs are okay in PvP. DK must be really OP, and I just haven't tested it, because that doesn't... Makes no sense to me that this would get nerfed and then not in PvP, but this wouldn't otherwise. For Balanced Druid, they're buffing everything, it looks like. So they're doing 3.5% overall damage buff, 10% to Moonfire and Sunfire, and Shooting Stars and Wrath, 20% to Starfire. So this is the changes I was expecting to see, is just like baseline ability buffs. Your Umbral Intensity will increase Wrath or Starfire by additional 2%. Meteorites will do 15% more damage. And your Apex talent, Solar Bolts and Lunar Bolts, will do 10% more damage. And your 2-set bonus will cause the instant Starfall damage increased by 15%. So Boomkin buffs across the board. Keeper of the Grove, Sylvan, Beckoning, Dryad, Starfall damage increased by 250% effectiveness, up from 200. And the Spirit of the Thicket increases Starfall by 18% from 12. Maybe we'll actually have a Starfall patch for Boomkins. That would be nice. That would be nice. For Feral Druid, the cooldown manager is just being updated to show the empowered icons for instances of dots like Rake and Rip that have been enhanced. So nothing for Feral, really. For Restoration, they're buffing your Mastery. Oh my God, Restoration Druid is already looking like it was going to be the best healer. They're buffing your Mastery healing again. It's weird how they tried to lower the emphasis on its Mastery, and now we're increasing the emphasis again on its Mastery. One patch later. The 2-set bonus, Genesis, increases healing over time by 15% down from 25. So nerf to your set bonuses, though. So they're buffing your mastery, nerfing your bonus. So it's more so your healing's coming from your class as opposed to your set bonus. Nature Swiftness, Tranquility, and Iron Bark have a 100% chance to grant Genesis, and its duration is increased. All of your big cooldown... I mean, Resto Druid's going to be busted, bro. Resto Druid's going to be busted. Scale Commander... Wing Leader's cooldown reduction mechanic strongly incentivizes spreading bombardment applicants across multiple targets. We feel that this gameplay is unintuitive in isolation and additionally creates unhealthy behavior such as disintegrate clipping and mass disintegrate and eruption pooling. This redesign is intended to retain the multi-target focus of the talent. So Wing Leader is being redesigned. Mass disintegrate, mass eruption, reduce the remaining cooldown of Deep Breath and Breath of Eons by 0.5 to 1 second per target struck. And Command Squadron's pyre damage is being increased by 40%. Maneuverability damage over time is being increased by 40%. So they just don't want you pooling or tagging multiple targets. I kind of felt this on AUG and PvP, but I think this is again mostly a PvE change. For Chrono Warden, double time has been updated. If Evan Might reapplies double time while it's already active, double time's duration is extended instead of overriding the previous double time effect. So a little bit of a quality of life towards buff management there for Chrono Warden. Preservation, now that Dream Breath's healing over time is more powerful at a baseline, we're reducing some of the supporting talents that are making it too dominant in its breakdown. And they're additionally updating Consume Flame to be much more relevant and impactful, which it should be as Flame Shaper's capstone talent. Inner Flame increases periodic healing by 50% down from 60. Spiritual Clarity reduces the cooldown of Dream Breath down by 6 from 10. So you're not able to Dream Breath as much, it heals a little less. Flame Shaper Expanded Lungs increases the healing of Dream Breath by only 20%. So this is pretty big nerfs. Conduit of Flame increases the critical strike chance by 10 down from 15. Not for devastation though. Fulminous Roar causes Fire Breath and Dream Breath to deal their damage 15% more often, down from 20. And Fluttering Seedlings can now trigger Consume Flame. Emerald Blossom and Fluttering Seedlings now prefer to heal injured allies with Dream Breath active while talented into Consume Flame. And Consume Flame now heals for 300% of the amount consumed, up from 200%. So trying to make a little hero retalent improvement, as well as taking some healing throughput out of Dream Breath. God dang, BM Hunters, you're getting more stuff? We are lowering the value of Cobra Shot talent modifiers in this update, but also increasing the damage of Cobra Shot's base spell. See, this is good. This is what I was like, addressing all the different modifiers, all the passives that are stacking, all the cooldowns that are stacking, and just buffing the class's damage baseline. So Auto Shot's going to get 20% more damage. Cobra Shot gets 30%, but remember, it's going to be compensated because they're going to nerf other stuff. They're nerfing Serpentine Strikes by about 30. Cobra Senses now causes Cobra Shot down by 10 by 35. Probably going to restructure your talent choice also, but as a result of this. They're nerfing Barb Shot by 12% baseline. The Venomous Abyss 4-set bonus now increases Cobra Shot damage against a single target by 15% per stack, down from 30. Well, how hard was Cobra Shot going to be hitting? It must have been a huge amount of modifiers with the set bonus. Pack Leader Hog Strider now increases the damage of your next Cobra Shot only by 100%, down from 200. Hoof and Blade now increases the bonus Cobra Shot damage from Hog Strider by 25%, down from 50. Now, Cobra Shot wasn't really big anyways in PvP, at least. Most of your damage is coming from your bleeds. I think it was, I don't know what the bleed was called for BM Hunter, but most of it's coming from the bleed procs on your pet during Beast or Wrath. So this probably doesn't do too much. You're probably still just really good. Marksmanship Hunter is getting bigger tuning changes. They're bringing their damage up to line. So 20% on auto attack, 20% on rapid fire, 50% on steady shot, 20% on volley, 15% on arcane shot, 80% multi shot, 25% kill shot, and then 25% black arrow. But we're not reverting any of that in PvP? Okay. I'm a bit scared. Fire Mage is getting a 12% damage buff across the board. Pyroclasm duration is being increased by 5 seconds. For Frost, your 4-set's being updated. It now generates 5 icicles over 1 second when it triggers, rather than immediately granting the Glacial Spike effect. The tooltip's being updated to match. Changing the spec, or changing the procs per minute. Shatter damage bonus has been nerfed as well, so a little bit of a nerf to Frost. Mistweaver Monk, spinning crane kick damage getting buffed by 10%. They resolved an issue causing temple training spinning crane kick damage increase to apply to Mistweaver. So this is, they're just getting your healing where it was with the bug, but the bug's not giving you the healing. Windwalker Monk, you get 5% more stamina, and you're going to get 10% damage reduction up from 6. That's a lot of extra durability on Windwalker. That's going to make you, I think, significantly tankier, especially if they're intending on slowing the game down in PvP. Lightsmith, like, change like that, I feel like it's designed under the intent of the current pacing almost. Lightsmith, Divine Guidance is being updated for each Holy Power spell cast. Your next Consecration deals holy damage immediately. Split across all enemies up to 3 nearby allies are each healed for a percentage of the total damage. For Holy, we are making a few updates to Holy Paladin with the goal of increasing talent diversity and overall performance. So your 2-set bonus now increases the effectiveness of Infusion of Light by 100% from 75. You get an 8% healing buff across the board, 5% to Word of Glory, 5% to Eternal Flame, 10% to Holy Shock. They're buffing Ringing of the Heavens. It will cast Divine Toll at 200% from 100. These are massive Holy Poly buffs. Truth Prevails, healing increased by 30%. Saved by the Light, Absorb increased by 50%. Tyrion's Devotion now reduces the cooldown of Lay on Hands by 40 up from 30. Awakening now activates on a 15% chance up from 10. What are these buffs? Glistening Radiance now absorbs 2% of your max health up to 6. So Overflowing Light now transfers 50% of the Holy Shock healing from 30. Call of the Righteous now decreases the duration of Avenging Wrath by 3 down from 4. And decreases the duration of Avenging Crusader by 2 down from 2.5. So a little bit less wings duration, but your spells just heal more overall. It falls in line, but I just feel these numbers seem so huge initially. That it feels like you're just going to be even stronger. Protection. They fixed an issue where Blessed Words increases the Word of Glory healing. It was incorrectly applying without being talented. What the? Valiant Crusade no longer cancels on death. Blessed Words overhealing effect now works on any target. Guardian of Ancient Kings cooldown increased to 8 seconds. Adjusted many talent locations. They did that last time for Pro 2. Improved Ardent Defender now applies a debuff to indicate when fatal damage has been sustained. For Retribution, we're iterating on the tier set to address some pain points while retaining its identity. 4-set updated, Consuming Divine Purpose grants Divine Arbiter, empowering your other Holy Spenders to unleash an Arbiter of Light on your primary target, dealing holy damage and holy damage to enemies within 8 yards. Cannot occur while Divine Arbiter is active. The 4-set bonus, Divine Arbiter just does more damage. So just more damage. But they're nerfing all your damage by 6% on top of that. For Discipline Priest, this tuning package is intended to reduce the impact of Void Shield and distribute its power to other weaker spells in the rotation. This should better balance Discipline's healing kit, remove the overbearing focus on triggering Void Shield. So they're nerfing Void Shield by 30%. They're buffing Ultimate Penitence by 30. Greater Smite duration increased to 4 from 2. All healing and absorption increased by 10%. Atonement heals 32% of the damage up from 30. So responding to the feedback about Void Shield just being so huge, it's the main reason you were viable. Maybe hopefully this is enough to compensate for that nerf. Holy Priest is just getting 10% more healing. Benediction is getting its mana cost reduced. Apotheosis now reduces the mana cost of Holy Words by 70% from 50. I thought it was 100%. It was only 50? So just some mana mitigation here for Holy Priest. Overall throughput. Shadow gets more buffs, 8% more damage. Subtlety Rogue is getting 8% more damage, but not in PvP. See, some of these seem like... Because if the game is changing, it's going to be really slow. Subtlety might actually need that. But it depends on how close they are to achieving that, I guess. Enhancement Shaman 4-set bonus or a short circuit to not be consumed. Fix an issue causing Crash Lightning unleashed to only target a single target. 4-set bonus or a short circuit now increases the damage of Crash Lightning weapon enhancement effect. This bonus will be calculated as the average when there are multiple attacks active. Restoration Acid Rain damage increased by 50%, but now causes damage every 2 seconds from 1. Fix an issue where Healing Rain was not causing immediate healing when casting a spell. Fix an issue where both Acid Rain and Healing Rain were not properly granting a partial tick when Healing Rain naturally expired. Affliction 2-set bonus. Every time I read Resto Shaman, it's literally just Healing Rain. I'm just like, I'm sad. The Venomous Abyss 2-set bonus has been updated. Seed of Corruption now applies Unstable Affliction at 20% down from 50. We're making this adjustment to avoid making Seed of Corruption the universal tool for spending soul shards. We got Unstable Affliction to remain the spell used in single target encounters. Destruction is getting a 10% damage buff. Arms Warrior is trailing behind its single target, especially Slayer. Your 2-set bonus is going to be increasing your Mortal Strike and Execute damage by 10%. Previously, it was only Mortal Strike. And your auto attacks are getting buffed by 100%. Colossus, No Stranger, has been updated. Damage prevented by each use of Ignore Pain increased, so you're getting some damage mitigation. Dominance of the Colossus has been updated. Enemies damaged by Demolish take 20% reduced damage from you, up from 10. That's a lot of damage mitigation. Slayer is being updated. Chance to trigger Slayer Strike is being increased to 25 from 15. For Fury Warrior, the intent behind Bloodbath is that the majority of the damage bonus comes from the bleed and not the direct damage. So the initial damage is being nerfed by 12%, but the bleed's getting buffed by 300%. Trying to make you more bleed-oriented. For Prot, the 4-set bonus bleed is currently underperforming. We're buffing it up, so we feel that Protection Warrior could use a small bump in overall survivability. The performance gap between Mountain Thane and Colossus is currently too wide, and we'd like to bring Colossus' performance closer to Mountain Thane. 4-set bonus, Bloody Rebuke damage increased by 100%. Unyielding increases the damage reduction bonus of defensive stance by 6, up from 4. No Stranger to Pain is being updated. Damage prevented by each use of Ignore Pain increased by 30 to 20. Practice Strike has been updated. Shield Slam generates more rage. Dominance of Claws has been updated. Enemies damaged by Demolish take 20% reduced damage from you, up to 10. So buffs towards Colossus. When we look at the Twitter post that I was talking about, It's very interesting here. So basically, Aurora Sacrifice for Hunters is getting buffed. I think up to 15%. They're nerfing Overpowered Barrier, which is a really good nerf. They're buffing Arcanosphere. They really want Arcane Mage to play Arcanosphere. And they're buffing Ring of Fire slightly. So what is the Ring of Fire buff exactly? Summons a Ring of Fire for 8 seconds. Enemies entering the ring are CC'd for 4 seconds. So they they'll be CC'd for 4 up from 3. Trying to make Ring of Fire a little bit more of a viable selection there. I think the big one is Hunter defense going up, Overpowered Barrier nerf. Those are like the huge ones on this update for PvP. And like the overall class tuning is going to be an ongoing thing, but some things look a little bit terrifying. Like the Devoured Demon Hunter. I'm a bit worried about where that one is potentially going to lead us. And for some reason, DKs, you guys can't catch a break, but maybe it's good that you're getting slaughtered this early on, because then when you come out, maybe you'll end up being good. And DK was overperforming in Mythic Plus, so I do anticipate a lot of those nerfs are mainly targeting him there. But hopefully it doesn't mean that you're going to end up being useless when it comes to PvP in that regard. But that's it for this update. Thank you guys very much for tuning into the video, and I will see you in the next one.